TinkerCAD tips. In the prior video, I showed how I made this iPhone stand using the sketch tool. And in this video, I'm going to go ahead and finish it out, putting the hexagon grid holes and such in it, and giving it kind of a particular shape. So first thing I'm going to do is flip this over. And let's spin this around 90 degrees for now. Let's go ahead and get our phone out of the way. Let's use the cruise tool here and just lay it on its back over here. Let's change this to yellow, make it a little bit easier to see. Now, what I want to first do is drop this to the work plane, and because this may not have been exactly straight or flat on the bottom, I'm going to make sure to reorient it so that it is flat. So I'm going to put the work plane down here, hold Shift, click there. While that's highlighted, we're going to hit Control-C. Going to back out, put the work plane back on the default here if it'll let me. There we go. Hit Control-V. Let's go ahead and delete our first one. All right, here we have our new one now that's flat on the work plane. Let's take our phone. Let's use the cruise tool here for a moment. And what I want to do is make this a little bit wider and put some kind of angled sides on this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit wider. And let's say about there. And let's align these two down the middle just so I can get an idea. Now let's cut off the sides at angles here. Let's take our square shape or square hole, kind of open it up here, make sure it's long enough. Let's bring it up, bring it out a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and tilt that just a couple of degrees. Say about like that. Hit D to drop it to the work plane. Let's make sure our snap grid here is set to off. And we're going to zoom in. And I want to move this to the edge of the phone stand. Would have been a lot faster if I would have had the snap grid at 1 millimeter. But we're going to move that in until we just touch at the bottom. Okay, let's back out. Let's make a duplicate of that whole shape. I'm going to hit the mirror key. Let's mirror it this direction. Let's go ahead and change our snap grid to 1 here. That'll move a little faster. Let's do the same thing. Let's zoom in a bit here. Change this to off. Holding the Shift key, let's move that over till it just cuts the bottom off. All right, so that'll be our basic shape. Let's go ahead and move the phone out of the way. Now let's bring in some of our honeycomb grid. We'll go up to search here. We're going to click on grid, enter the word grid. And we're going to use this one right up here called honeycomb grid. I'm going to bring that out. Cruise it right onto the back of the stand. And we're going to change some of the dimensions. Let's change the radius to 7. Maybe that's about big enough. Let's change the number of rows to say 7. Let's slide this down a bit. Nope, let's make that row count of 8. Let's change the column count to 7. Yep, let's make that a couple more. Let's go to 10 on this. Okay, that's a little too wide. We'll go back to 9. Whoops, let's undo that. There we go. That's shaped pretty well. Let's put the work plane, let's close this for a moment. Let's put the work plane back on the stand here. We'll stretch this up just a little bit. Shift select the phone stand, use the alignment tool. We'll align to the stand. There we go. That's about in the middle. Now what I want to do is I want to cut those honeycomb holes also in the shape of that trapezoid. Let's get our default work plane back out here. So how I can do this is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select this box, shift select this box. I'm going to group those two together. All right, now I'm going to make a duplicate of that, and holding shift select, I'm going to select the honeycomb. I'm going to group those two things together. That will cut off the edges of our honeycomb. Now I'm going to change them to a hole shape. Put the work plane back on the phone stand here. Make sure our holes are selected. And I'm going to come around to the side, and holding the control key and the shift, I'm going to sink those holes into the phone stand until they protrude out the back. See, we can start to see them there. Okay. That looks pretty good. Let's make a duplicate of that. Use our cruise tool. Bring these around at the side. Cruise those onto there. Oh, that didn't flatten out the way that I wanted it to. Let's select those. Control C. Let's come back to the back here. Work plane on the back. Control V. D to drop. Let's move these around a little bit. Let's ungroup those. Select it again. Let's change the number of rows to 10. Bring that down a ways. Shift select the phone stand, and we'll align to the stand. There we go. All right, let's select our holes out here again. Let's shift select the grid. Let's group those. Let's change that into a hole shape. Coming around to the side, we'll control cursor down until those poke through the back. There we go. Move out. Now we can select all of this, group that together. Looks something like that. Seems we missed part of it here. Let's ungroup, see if we can fix that. Oh, seems our holes moved here. Select that, these outside boxes, align to the phone stand. There we go. And there's our finished product. questions, comments, leave them in the comments for me. Thanks.